This is a horror game podcast. It is meant for mature audiences. It may contain shocking revelations, violence, and sexual themes. Viewer discretion is advised. Greetings, fellow investigators, and welcome back to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I will be playing War Cthulhu RPG. I'm your host, Thom Raley. We continue with our campaign, War Cthulhu London. It was written by Matthew Sanderson and Scott Dorward. This scenario is entitled Captive Audience. Our keeper of arcane lore is Matthew Sanderson, and this is episode 5. Our recap will be given by David Gasaway and Alex Thun as their characters, Captain Oswald Goodale and David's character. So without any further delays, let's continue our journey into the darkness.
It is I, Melvin Spofford Harris. We were correct in some sense to pay a visit to Hanover Terrace. Taylor Graves' impressive home has clearly housed a whole troop of late, but not, it seems, for a few days. In fact, Gross and I have yet to meet a single person on the premises. We were not, however, alone. In the cellar of the house, I triggered some blasted artifact on the floor, which sapped me completely. George managed to flee upstairs, but I was too weakened, and so had to see this bizarre mockery of a form emerge from the shadows, a shelled fiend of a frogman, when the hateful thing piped at me. Next thing I knew, George was covered in yellow paint, and so was the Graves library. And so am I. And something upstairs is knocking.
Field report by Captain Oswald Goodale. We interviewed a disgruntled worker, Charles Hubbard, who was scoping out the front of the Piccadilly Hotel. Now, he was planning to storm the hotel on the 12th with 100 or so union members. We managed to convince him to delay the attack because we looked into some stuff that didn't quite add up. Apparently, a man named Ronald Brooks convinced him to make the attack, or someone who was using the dead man's name. Afterwards, after we let him go, Davidge was attacked by a crazed cultist in a knife fight. And we managed, Jean-Pierre and I managed to dispatch this knife-wielding cultist, and we managed to save Davidge, bringing him to the hospital. Apparently the cultist, his name was Stephen Nash, and he was living at Ronald Brooks' place. So naturally, that was what we were next to investigate. When we were investigating, we found Taylor Graves' business card there. He's the same one who read The King in Yellow and has been checking it out. Our number one priority is to stop the hotel bunker showing of The King in Yellow and to find this Taylor Graves. Oswald Goodale, out.
Right, thank you very much, you two. So, before we leap into the more ominous of the two scenes, I think we'll catch up with you guys that have been outside of the Piccadilly Hotel. So, David, you've been taken to hospital for to be tended to your wounds. Very much to a poor departed member of your team who ended up looking a lot like Claude Rains. We're going to fast forward a bit on the normal process of healing up and getting you checked out so that you can be back into the scenario.
Yes, just have to wrap me and pack the wound, and stalwart, I'll manage. Just be a little sore in my my right arm for a while.
That's it. Now, having been through that experience last year, you're probably going to have that changed every day for the open wound, for
Indeed.
that to then make sure that it doesn't get infected and so on and so forth. So, oh, good load of fun there. So, remind me, last time did we do regaining health for that, or did we leave you in the hospital? I honestly can't remember.
I think that right at the end you left me in the hospital, at least temporarily. But it looks like I regained at least one. That was probably from first aid.
Yeah, probably from first aid. So you can roll me a D3 with a stint in hospital to represent how they pack you up.
2 more points.
Okay, there you go. So you can withstand a couple of punches.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I probably then check myself out of the hospital and head to where somebody is.
Yeah. So
maybe I will temporarily go back to Piccadilly, not to Piccadilly, to the bookstore, and make sure that MN knows everything that's been going on so far.
Gotcha. Yeah, he's quite interested in the fact that how your eyes have suddenly returned to normal, so that that looks distinctly less disconcerting.
I guess a near-death experience does that. It's inexplicable. I don't know why they were stuck open anyway. And trying to go over in my mind the details from that book become more and more cloudy, like a dream that you have. And when you wake up, you're sure you can remember it. And 5 minutes later, it begins to slip away. It's like that.
I'd be concerned then that maybe the play has some hold on those that have read it, potentially, that only is released after a brush with death, if it is in fact completely let go of you.
Yes, I'll take it easy just in case. It still might have George, though. Although he was already batshit crazy before the book.
And we spent so much time trying to put him back together again. Oh, well. What's Jean-Pierre and Captain Oswald doing?
We were at the apartment of that dude, and we had gone into the second floor, right?
That's at UA Nash's place.
Yeah, we're opening all the windows, letting light in.
Yep, plenty of dust, plenty of inactivity here. But yeah, it doesn't look as though anyone's been here for a little while now.
Yeah, the only thing we found was the business card for Taylor Graves at the for the dry cleaners.
Yeah, it was used as a bookmark in the old yellow pages. At which point, then you've got the dry cleaners. Well, on the dry cleaners page, which then implies that's where they got all of their attire cleaned. That's still in the paper bags hanging up in
Best
the
we
wardrobe.
go to the dry cleaners then, because they might have some addresses on file.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah,
I'm full of them, Jean-Pierre.
I'm no doubt about it. I forgot I have to do French accent. I have no doubt about it, Captain. And also, unbeknownst to us, the clothes of his family were found, unfortunately, eaten by that weird thing.
Well, definitely something had happened to them. Right. If you want to go to the dry cleaners, there'll be a local operation, so they won't be particularly difficult to track down. We can quickly go through details there without having to play the whole thing out. They do give you the name of a particular person. I don't think you've got this man's name yet. The name that they have on that paid the invoice for these clothes is a man by the name of Mark Long. But the address is definitely where you'd previously gone on Haberdasher Street for that used to be owned by your now confirmed to be dead cultist
Steve Nash.
Yeah, well, Nash is dead, but also the name he was masquerading under as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the same
Okay,
one.
so these clothes, have they been picked up yet?
Brooks, that was the name I was trying to remember. The clothes are the ones that are in the wardrobe, so the ones that
Okay.
were hung up, the bellboy's uniform, maid's uniform, etc. Those were all the clothes that had been brought into them. They have then cleaned and then returned to them, and Mark is the name of the person who signed off and gave them the payment for them.
Might be a stretch. I'll go ahead, Mr. Jean-Pierre.
I was just gonna say, do the costumes have a mask element to them, or anything that would
No.
conceal the face?
No, none of them at all.
It's just
They're
work
all,
attire.
yeah, they're all normal work attire or uniforms that would be employed by those people that work at the Piccadilly Hotel.
Oh, I see. I see. Hmm.
This might be a stretch, but let's ask if the counter person remembers what this Mark Long looked like.
Okay, yeah, give me a luck roll. See if this is someone that was there at the time and you can remember what this guy looks like.
I failed. Actually, what is your luck, Jean-Pierre?
My luck.
Mine's
Yeah, 'cause
55.
whoever's got the lowest.
My luck apparently is 15. I
Oh,
don't think
okay.
that's right.
So you should. Well, you get a luck refresh.
Yeah, wait. I think that's wrong because I got a new computer and the PDF is not updated. Well, I failed my luck, so
All right, all right.
I'll be surprised if you didn't with that.
yeah.
No leads here. I think the best we can do is to confiscate the uniform so that the cult may not use it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you can definitely get rid of them. That's not a problem.
Should we do that? I mean, that seems like it
Yeah.
would be the most prudent course of action.
Is if we can make the cult's lives difficult, then that's better for us in the long run.
On the other
Because
hand,
we already like pushed aside the union worker assault on the 12th.
true, yeah.
We might as well take their costumes too, so they can't play dress up.
True.
You can give me an int roll for both of you, so a point to potentially ponder.
Oh no, I am French. My brain is full of wine.
I got a hard.
Okay. As I described, that place was quite dusty, and no one had been living here for quite some time. If these are vital parts to the cult's plan, why have they left them in an abandoned house and not taken them with them?
Because they already have what they need, but
just something to consider.
Yeah, we'll take them anyway.
Mm-hmm. Right, and then you can potentially meet up back with Davidge back at the bookshop off Trafalgar Square, while meanwhile, over at Hanover Terrace, there's a sound of a waltz floating through the air in this otherwise seemingly abandoned building that's now covered in a lot of yellow paint for some bizarre reason.
Oh, it stings too. Blast. Is there a phonograph somewhere, George?
I don't know. It's beautiful in here.
It sounds like it's coming from upstairs around that same kind of area where you can hear someone moving around.
Oh, I don't think we're alone after all, George. You did bring a pistol, didn't you?
Yes, I did, Melvin. I did.
Oh, gracious. We'll also have to see if we can find a change of clothes upstairs. We can't really go back out through the kitchen door covered in this beautiful color without attracting attention.
But it's very stylish, Melvin. I am kind of liking the look.
That's the constabulary will not, at any rate. I'll go up the stairs first, but please follow me with the pistol drawn but held low.
Yes, I will follow you.
You tentatively head up the staircase in that case. It's a nice wide open stairwell that goes up. So you've got the stairs go up, and they kind of double back on themselves, and then they end up on a nice L or horseshoe kind of landing, which you can see there are a number of doors that lead off here. There's no corridors that go off, so all the rooms are what you see off this particular landing. You've got one door that you think would be above the lounge, so that's off to your kind of extreme left.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only door on that wall. So whatever room that opens up into is probably a fairly large one, you would think. Then there's one immediately at the top of the stairs to your right, so that's of the back. That's over where the kitchen would be. There's one further along that wall, which then goes into the door. In that case, is open. In fact, only one of these doors is shut, actually, so you can see through into all of these rooms. The one that you can't see through into is the one that's at the top of the stairs. The big one above the lounge, that's open, and it looks like it goes into a fairly opulent bedroom. So then going clockwise round, you've got the one that's shut. The next one looks like it's another bedroom, but it's been set up with a series of bunk beds in there, so it looks like it was housing quite a few people. There's easily room for six different beds in there. The next room round is a bathroom that looks fairly normal. There's nothing unusual about that in any way, shape, or form. And then the last one going round over the top of the drawing room, that's an entrance into another bedroom where there is again another set of bunk beds in there. So it looks like there was up to, potentially when you count the master bedroom, maybe between 10 and 12 people staying here at any one particular time.
Suitable for a full cast.
Indeed.
Is the waltz coming through an open door, or does it sound muffled?
It's muffled. It sounds like it's coming from that one single closed door.
Well, we can't be surprising anyone. The piping, everyone could hear that piping for miles around, I'm sure.
Yes, and we didn't exactly, I wasn't exactly discreet when we came in.
Well, it was the garage door that we really banged up. The kitchen door went better. But maybe the waltz music covered it up. But the waltz music wasn't playing when we came in. The house was quiet as anything.
No.
Correct.
Melvin, I will take the lead here.
I'll take the door handle and push it open so that you have both hands free.
Okay. I'll be ready.
Meanwhile, we've left a trail of yellow paint footsteps up on the expensive Ottoman carpets lining the...
Yes, and the mentally unstable one has the gun.
Yeah, I'm not doing so well. All right.
What could go wrong?
So I'm going to take the knob, turn it slowly, and then shove it open.
Okay, you fling it open. The door opens about halfway before it hits the person that was walking on the other side, which is evidently the sound of the footsteps you heard moving around there. There is promptly a gasp of a rather lavishly dressed lady that's walking behind in this lovely yellow and gold ball gown. She's holding a mask up to her face, but otherwise you can hear that she kind of as the door bounces off her, she's like, "Oh, what was going on here? Where did this door come from? Who are you?" You can see her eyes squinting through the mask, and she cocks her head to one side. You look vaguely familiar.
She's speaking to George, I'm assuming.
Oh, yeah, looking through the door. If you're looking down the barrel of the gun, yes.
Does George recognize?
Give me a spot hidden roll. Let's see if you can identify this somewhat obscured masked figure.
04.
Oh, yeah, you can definitely see through this not intentional obfuscation of her appearance. But the last time you saw her was when you were down underground with the air raid shelter. Once you'd wandered off into the dark to go and follow, I believe, a lead that Captain Oswald had said that there's someone down there, and that's where you met the person you later identified as Constance Parker.
The gun will slowly come down and it'll be like, God, how is this? How is this so, Melvin? This is the woman I saw.
We all saw her in the tunnel. Is the room a bedroom, or is it a ballroom?
The room beyond looks more like a corridor. It looks like a lavishly appointed, regal is the best word to describe this, corridor with marble pillars on the far side of the corridor, a series of pot plants with almost these palm tree-like leaves coming off them. But you can hear this waltz is playing from somewhere down, a fair way down this corridor. As you're hearing it, seeing it, and taking into consideration the layout of the building around you, the scene does not make sense.
No, this is not in the building, George. Sorry to bother you, miss. See you at the ball. And I'm going to try to just.
No, don't close the.
You're coming
Even
to the
I
ball?
put my foot. George puts his foot in the way.
The two of you then, especially as you saying that, yeah, both George stopping the door closing and also Constance holding out her hand. If you want to come to the ball, it's where I'm going now. You can come and join me.
But you are Constance, yes?
Yes, yeah, we met.
What's we've met in passing. It was quite a long passing, but yes.
You see,
look familiar, yes.
We're not going to the ball though until the 12th. It's not quite time for us yet.
Oh,
what is
time? It's all the same.
Constance, what is the ball for? What I just.
It's for the king, George. It's for the king.
Yes, I know, Melvin, but I am.
We don't want to meet the king, George. May I remind you, we're not dressed for a royal audience. We should go, George.
George is. I feel like seeing Constance, I'm gonna have to do a power roll.
Well, actually, which one of you has the lower luck?
I'm at 51.
I have 54. So.
It's appropriate because you're the one that said this. So.
85.
That sounds good. Right, as you say that, trying to almost stage whisper-esque shut down George and say, no, we don't want to meet the king, this look of horror comes across Constance's face as she pulls aside the mask for a moment. And just this wide-eyed stare that kind of mimics what is already on Gross's face. And you hear a gasp suddenly ripple out across this huge audience or this huge group of people that are somewhere down near where that orchestra is playing. And you could almost hear a penny drop until something moves around there. Something that almost gets up and strides towards you.
Your foot, George. I'm going to risk causing him injury and try to shut the door to this
I'm also
direction.
going to. Okay, I failed a power roll, so it's all down to you. It's down to you to move me because I'm just standing still.
Right, that's I think you're in a opposed strength roll with Constance then, trying to get this door shut before a very regal fellow indeed is going to make an appearance.
Constance. Oh, it doesn't matter. I rolled a 98.
hang on, my 18 rides then. She's holding the door open with this look of horror, just saying, "You shouldn't have said that. You shouldn't have said that.
We shouldn't be here. It's not our ball."
Ball's always
Constance.
happening. The ball's always happened. The ball will always happen."
Who's the thing that pipes below?
Not to do with us.
I don't have to stay here by the open door. I'm going to move around, George, and make a run for it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Give me an opposed dex roll to see if you can do it before the king turns up.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm gonna do a luck roll to see if I actually have a chance.
I rolled an 84
Okay.
for my dex at 52, so
What did you say? Opposed dex roll?
Uh-huh.
75 on 65 is not,
Right, my hard success rides then. You see this figure, this towering figure that's about 8 foot tall, march ominously, almost as if time starts to slow down in its very presence, with almost reality starting to unfurl at the very edges of your vision. This thing in yellow, this tattered image of something that looks almost like robes. There's an impression of wings around the back of this, and some unearthly halo that surrounds its head, and this face that is partly obscured. Maybe it's a mask, maybe it's a veil. It's hard to say, but it has eyes. That something behind this thing looks at you and just bellows this command, whether it's by actually something audible or whether it's something that just resonates in your head like a transferred communicated thought via telepathy. But something booms in your head that just screams for you to come towards this thing's presence and bow. Can I have a power roll from both of you, please? You're looking to get an extreme success.
Okay.
I passed. That's all I can say. 46 is pretty far from 11.
I am somehow rolling hot for an insane man 004 again.
Oh, okay. Right. You resist the gaze of the Yellow King, so you don't need to make a sanity check, or not. It's not even a sanity check. Sorry, it's just with
How?
the with not getting the extreme success. It's a 1d6 sanity loss from Melvin, please.
3. My
Okay.
best roll so far.
Good. Not enough to tip you over into indefinite or temporary insanity.
Not again. I'm still recovering from the paint episode.
Gotcha. Right. In which case, then, yep, it's pretty damn scary. But there's nothing that's kind of there's nothing that's deliberately or compelling you, either by action or by like a command for you to go forward and bow. You are just gripped by terror in this moment, so you are capable of action. So what do both of you want to do?
I wish to be respectful by bowing where I am, and then turning that bow into a sharp left turn and a fleeing for the stairs.
Okay, Melvin runs.
George just pinches himself and then starts to also go the other way. He might be an insane man, but
you might be the insane one, but it's
knows
Constance
when to
behind
run.
you that's laughing and just saying, "Just come to the ball. Just bring your dancing shoes. We can dance forever until the stars themselves burn out." At that point, the door slams shut upstairs as you reach the ground floor.
Maybe some other time.
Yes, well, I don't want to be seen in this elevated neighborhood covered with drying yellow paint. So I'm going to take my jacket off and turn my waistcoat inside out and maybe put on an apron if there's something hanging in the kitchen?
Yeah, you'd be able to find something like that. There'll be definitely
Mel
overalls that you can find.
Melvin, I apologize. I saw Constance and just I don't know, lost it a
No,
little bit.
we were fools to open the door. We should have known better. We should have gotten out as soon as we heard someone moving around up there. We'll have to tell the others to be more cautious than we were. Can you
Well,
cover up a bit? We really shouldn't be seen like this. It's a crime scene after all.
well, I can put an apron or something over, but we can try and maybe go back to my place and I have clean clothes.
Of course.
Right. I'm quite happy at that point. If you want to make a quick, sharp exit stage left, maybe not pursued by a bear, but maybe being glared at by the King in Yellow, you can quite happily escape from Hanover Terrace.
Yeah, a couple
So,
blocks
I mean,
away, I want to call into Anne and tell them that Graves has been definitely housing the troop, but they seem to have been gone for a few days, and that the house is quite dangerous, and we'll give full reports after, a bath and some brandy.
Gotcha. And I think that's probably a good point then to bring everyone together as you are making your report so you can fill everyone in of what's happened at Hanover Terrace in the office above the bookstore off Trafalgar Square. This will probably bring you towards evening then.
Yes.
By the time everyone's got back together and that report's been made. So that gives the average a nice time to sit down and have a good relax with a glass of brandy.
If it hadn't been for Oswald, I'd probably have bled out. The doctor said it was only 2 centimeters from my heart. But I'm all patched up now. If I'm a little sore and unable to flex this muscle on my right side, I owe you a great deal, Captain.
Please, it's my pleasure. And you can pay me back by solving this case.
Well, I mean, haven't we kind of figured out a little bit there? If there is, we think that this troupe of performers is going to stage the play in the bunker.
But wait a minute. Constance said the thing in the basement didn't have anything to do with them. Right?
Well, she
So-
talks about this basement.
So, and we saw the clothing of the guy's family in the basement. What if just by a horrific happenstance, that creature ate them all and then there's no problem, right?
No, I don't think
can't be
the
sure.
family was eaten. I think the family was sacrificed, probably on the altar that I stepped on in order to summon the thing, the frog thing.
Oh, so you
Whether-
just summoned it on accident then?
I revived the thing that was, it was summoned into that cellar, and I activated the dais or portal or whatever by just foolishly lighting it and striding across it. It felt like a blow with a hammer, except more exhausting in a way.
Who's in
Any
favor?
mention-
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I'll say, any mention of this, you can see the kind of the cogs working behind his eyes. So as you're talking, he gets up from his desk and goes over to that bookcase in the corner of the room, kind of stepping over the various files that are all marked top secret that litter the floor. And he starts looking through the titles of books and pulls out one that's the title of which on the spine you can see is called True Magic. And then he starts flicking through the book as if he's onto something. He's just trying to look something up. But
By
carry on.
Theophilos. I know that book. It's a fairly famous grimoire sort of book.
Who's in favor of blowing the house up, by the way? I am.
I think an explosion in that neighborhood is going to bring a great deal of unwanted attention. I think a team of people should go into the cellar, not turn the light on, wear protective gear, and take that altar or whatever it is somewhere else for demolition, or if it seems useful for study. But I don't imagine what that frog turtle thing could be of use for.
Well,
And
I'm
and
personally more concerned. Sorry, go ahead.
So N taps the page and then starts to go back to his desk, but carry on.
I'm more concerned with what's going to go on at Piccadilly Hotel in the bomb shelter.
Naturally.
I have a really good idea. We set the house on fire at dusk, and then the Germans will bomb the shit out of it.
Oh, that's actually pretty smart.
Again, there are probably some royal cousins in buildings on that terrace. It's not exactly easy collateral damage to swallow. The question for me is where the troop is. If they've moved out of Graves' home en masse, do they already have jobs at the hotel? How could they get a dozen people jobs simultaneously? And they don't have the uniforms they'd taken out weeks ago. How do they plan to all be in attendance?
Well, we did kind of guess that maybe they're entertaining the rich folk. Maybe they got themselves an invitation.
They've had like 50 years to plan this.
36.
Your story of what went on, the music and the dancing and the King in Yellow, very disturbing. Something.
And perks up. It says, "I think I know what you found down in the basement, and I think I know what this creature is that you described. That this summoning circle is a tool used by various cultists or various groups whenever they want to expedite the summoning of a particular creature. They're aligned to a particular type of creature in each instance, and this one seems to have been aligned to what we would call a servitor. That it's a creature that is as it says, it's like a handmaid or a right-hand butler or servant to a larger deity, whether it be Azathoth or whether it be the key and the gate. But these creatures are known to be able to impart various gifts or various blessings or spells to those that summon them. And that would probably what those sacrifices you described would have been used for. It seems like this group have deliberately called up a servitor to learn something of forbidden knowledge, and it cost the lives of 3 people to do so.
Human sacrifice is what you're talking about.
Yeah, he just nods.
Oh boy, they know spells.
Do we think that what they were learning was how to turn the bedroom in an expensive terrace house into a trans-dimensional gate to an eternal party?
I think that could have been caused by just if you're saying that the troupe were living there, they were almost certainly rehearsing the play. I think we're rehearsing that play in such an area again and again and again and again could make it an active gateway to Carcosa.
I mean, we've already dealt with people calling down fire demons from the stars. This is just another cult that's
dealt with a considerable loss of life and well-being. The question is, where are they now before the performance? It's a few days still.
What if they've somehow managed to secret themselves into the Piccadilly Hotel so that they are assured of being in the bunker when the next air raid comes?
Well, we were planning to take rooms as well. Maybe they've taken rooms, but well, Graves is obviously quite wealthy, and who knows what other resources they have.
Oh.
Have we managed to book rooms yet?
We should. I think you've discussed it, but you haven't done it yet.
I can work on that. I get that done this morning or this afternoon.
We also have
can as well if need be.
We also have a new name, Mark Long.
Mark Long. Well, it's generic enough. Long. Have we looked for him in the telephone pages?
You might find a lot of longs.
It's a
True.
fairly common name.
Mike.
Mark also is a very common name.
Both very common.
Let me go make some phone calls, and I will. I think Piccadilly is a fairly expensive hotel. We might have to bunk up a little.
Just put it on my tab. It's fine. I can. No. I will pay. People want separate rooms.
It's so nice to just have endless amounts of invisible money.
I mean, the point of the matter is that we only need an excuse to be there when the sun goes down.
Right.
So we could be visiting one suite and all be shuffled downstairs together for safekeeping.
But
So
remember,
so could the troop. They could be all in one room.
remember, they said that no one was allowed in the bomb shelter. Even a woman who was at risk of dying wasn't allowed
Right.
into the
Well,
bomb
she
shelter.
wasn't a guest.
She wasn't a guest at Piccadilly.
Yeah, but I don't think just every guest is allowed.
We should register all of us. Yes, it's ought to be on the safe side.
I mean,
I think-
we can always ask the manager.
It's also easier to bring in material if you're taking in a suitcase or a trunk than it is if you're coming in off the street or from the hotel
Yeah.
bar.
All I'm saying is,
Yes, go on, Jean-Pierre.
all I'm saying is perhaps we should talk to the manager and say it's a police matter that we
No.
need.
Ugh.
Heavens.
No.
Well, how
I think
else
it'd
are we
be
going to
better
get in the
to-
bunker?
We'll say that we're all lords of somewhere. and-
The bunker is for guests. of
No, the
hotel.
bunker is not for if I'm understanding this correctly, the bunker is not for all guests, right? It's just for the special people.
It's for the most elite, the most
the rich one.
basically the bigwigs, the VIPs that are in the hotel, because it couldn't. Well, in theory, it could hold a lot of people. It could hold up to 100 people in there, but it's furnished out so that it could only really comfortably accommodate a small number of people. So it definitely wouldn't hold everyone.
Yeah, exactly. So if we're not on the list, then we're not getting in. There's no way to
But
get in.
maybe we can get on the list somehow. Maybe
I
me. I am probably the wealthiest out of all of us, so I have a lot of.
What is the criteria for this list?
Well, we don't know.
Could we find out?
We can't exactly call them and say, "Hey, we want to be on the list that gets put into the bunker if something goes wrong."
I mean, I don't think they'll let me in. I smell too much like fish.
And you're French.
And I'm French.
But we could say you're a French aristocrat.
Yes, his accent will never pass. We could try to get him under the kitchen staff. I'm sure they serve delicious food in the bunker. But Dr. Gross, with your credit rating, I imagine you can tell exactly how fancy someone has to be to stay at Piccadilly and be included in the Gold Lounge bunker.
Sadly, definitely not you, Jean-Pierre.
Oh,
What sort of credit rating do you have, Dr. Gross?
I have an 80 credit rating.
Oh shit! Okay, yes, it's better than mine. Mine is pretty high too.
As I said, I'm a wealthy man.
That's how we could afford all these expensive sanitaria.
Look, if two of us can get into the bunker, we can secretly let in the others through the servants' entrance or something.
We could also just
How do you
storm.
secretly let someone into the bunker, though? I imagine that would involve a lot of turning of.
The thing is that
secure
rich
doors.
people can do whatever the fuck they want, and nobody is going to say you can't do that.
It's true.
I'm Davidge's personal secretary. Goodale's Dr. Gross's
My
bodyguard,
security of it.
and
Yes,
Jean-Pierre's his chef.
Yeah.
We can take rooms on the 11th and the 12th so that we've already established ourselves as gentlemen. Oh, I've got to get this paint out from under my nails.
I can be his sommelier.
There you go. You and your wine. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Well, we don't want to wait to figure it out. We want that part of the plan secure.
Right
we
now.
need to be in the space if we want to prevent this from happening.
I'll get on
So
the phone right now.
We cannot find.
Jean-Pierre, my butler can give you some tips.
How many days do we have before this goes off?
Well, you've been fairly proactive on what you've done so far. So I believe you are now coming up to the evening of, he says, trying to find the
Is it the 9th now?
section. I believe it's still the 9th, yes. So you're coming up to the evening of the 9th. So actually, you're only your second real evening of the scenario.
And it's going to be on the 12th?
Yes.
Yeah, you've got a few days.
So I'll book us for the 11th through the 13th.
And if there's a 13th, we'll have something to celebrate. In the Champagne Lounge.
Ah, it sounds lovely.
The lucky number.
So I will go and do that. I will say Dr. Gross, myself, and our immediate staff.
Okay, you call through to the hotel, in which case you get through to I think you've spoken to her before, the receptionist, the lady there, Shelley Green.
Yes.
I believe you talked to her previously. So yeah, she picks up the phone and starts to you can hear that she's writing down some bits. And give me a credit rating roll.
All right. Long credit rating. Yeah, I got 17 out of 65.
Okay.
Which is, if I need an extreme, I can do it.
No, that's fine. It's mainly to pass. So you are definitely on the good. You would be considered to be on the list. Say anything in the region of 65, 70 would be in the price range you would need to be able to get the most expensive and most lavish suites that they have. But you can see or hear rather as she's going down whatever list she's looking at. You can hear her try going. Can you give me 1 second? I just need to have a word with my manager.
Of course.
And she promptly puts you on hold. This being the 40s, there is no. Your call is important to us. Please hold.
No.
As the Girl from Ipanema starts playing, there's just silence on the line. And then she comes back about a minute later and says, I'm afraid, is there flexibility in the dates of which you're able to, that you'd be willing to come to us? Because our suites are already booked up for those dates. In fact, we're fully booked up until the 14th.
Oh dear.
It's a
large wedding party. So they've taken up all the suites on the top floor.
Wedding party. Do you have any accommodations at all?
Oh, we have other accommodations, certainly. We've got not the part of the normal rooms, but they obviously won't be as they will only hold less occupants. You'll probably have to book 3 rooms for the 5 people that you'd have staying.
Well, I mean, can you spare a private concierge at least for us for those rooms?
Oh, yeah, I think we can almost certainly arrange that, yes.
All right. We want to stay there. It's the nicest hotel. So I guess we'll do that then. What floor are those rooms on?
The penultimate floor, so they'd be on the 2nd floor, because I think there's only 3 floors.
Oh, okay.
On here, let me find the map again, and I'll have a look. But yeah, all the expensive suites on the top floor, they've all gone.
Okay.
Wedding. Who's getting married, I wonder?
We go.
Is that the Bridgeport wedding?
No, it's in fact, she does actually give you a name because you did succeed your role. It's the Jacobs party. Or
Jacobs
rather
party.
formerly Jacob, what will formerly be formerly Mrs. Jacobs.
All right. I'm afraid I'm not familiar. How that's interesting. I thought I knew everybody.
Oh, do you not know? Do you not know the name Adrienne Jacobs? You can give me either your choice of credit rating or int, or not
Let's see
credit
my
rating or
int.
edu. My bad.
Oh, edu 70. That's better. I'll do edu 73. I will spend 3 luck to pass.
You can just ask me, but
Or me.
Oh yes,
Right,
yes, yes. I know. I didn't realize it was that one. Oh well, that's very nice. I'll have to say hello.
Yeah, you the name definitely rings a bell. Adrienne Jacobs. You probably remember reading about her, at least in critics' reports in newspapers. A relatively underappreciated West End actress that was criminally overlooked in a lot of performances. Never really seemed to get the part she deserved on the West End stage. She dropped out of acting, as far as you could tell, maybe about 3 or 4 years ago. But yeah, so many people cried that she had so much potential, but for whatever reason, just never got cast in all the big parts that she evidently could have handled.
The roll of the dice, the trick of fate. Well, thank you. You've been a great help. We should arrive. We should only have the standard amount of luggage. We're not traveling a great deal. Thank you very much.
No problem. We look forward to your stay.
I'll tell everybody we're slumming it. We're staying in the on the second floor, or what the Londoners would call the third floor.
Yeah, there are 4 floors in total in the building, which I've now
ground 1, 2, 3.
It's actually, I think, lower basement level, but it still goes out onto the streets. Here we go. There's they did not make this a user-friendly font on the map, I must admit. There's lower ground level, first floor, and second floor. So you're going to be on the first floor, which is, for your perspective, would be the second floor.
Right.
The top floor is the second floor, so your third floor.
Right.
Partially because it's built into a hill, so the lower basement is also a street level on its side.
That's it. It's a street level on one side, but not on the other.
Well, and we need to look at newspapers for the wedding announcement of Adrienne Jacobs, because this embittered actress is conveniently taking up the entire floor of suites to go to the special bunker on the special night. Who's she marrying?
It may have only been that they used that as an excuse. There might not even be a wedding.
Yeah, I wonder if she's getting...
I think Ms. Green would have taken your ducats happily if there were any rooms.
Oh, I'm just saying that they might not actually anybody be getting married. They just used that as an excuse to get the rooms,
right,
so that then they could perform their performance.
But I do not think it's a coincidence that it's an embittered actress. You see, she's going to be the star of the play.
I have a feeling the top floor is filled with our actors in the play.
Well, yeah, perhaps not yet, but there will be.
Casilda and the others.
Don't even, mind it. I'd like to Blake, thank you very much.
Oswald, what are your views on having a failsafe in the form of a significant quantity of explosives?
I don't think Anne would like that very much.
Especially there are innocent people there.
Yes, well, I would not appreciate it.
The alternative is the end of the world.
Would it be the end of the world, though?
Why don't we just find the actors and actresses and murder them all in their sleep before the date even comes?
That's why it's a fail-safe.
That would be a good idea.
Yes, but then they'll find new actors. New actors will come out of the woodwork.
So,
Well, this is an issue, and interjects that after this is all resolved, we need to get that copy of that book out of the British Library's
indeed.
archives, because otherwise this is just going to start up all over again. That needs to be removed.
Do you have some sort of safe place for documents like that, or are they destroyed in some fail-safe method?
No, we have a relatively safe place for them, so don't worry too much about that.
Oh, I'm curious too about the description that Melvin gave us of the altar, the summoning circle, or whatever. Is it something we could have removed and placed somewhere, or is it just drawings on the floor?
No, it was an object.
Yeah, these things make very good traps as well, because unless the caster deliberately deigns to turn them off for a short period, anyone walking near that area will start to activate it, which makes it a convenient way to get rid of lone investigators that start to poke their nose into something and wander in on their own. It could potentially you're lucky you could have been destroyed by that thing if you.
I dare say I nearly was.
And if you allow, I can. You seem to be consulting a number of books there. If there's a way to diffuse the trap and remove it, I'm willing. I can't do any heavy lifting, but
I think this is definitely more Jean-Pierre's tactic. As much as I really do not like to advocate the use of explosives in a residential area, and especially one of high profile like that, blowing the fuck up would be the best way to just get rid of that thing.
if you think so, sometimes I wonder if blowing up a doorway only makes a bigger doorway.
There is a certain, well, I'm to be hopeful here. There's a certain avenue of thought that would say that because it's the place where those rehearsals took place, removing the place from the equation may well disrupt its influence on the world.
Yeah, and start a kitchen fire, the Germans will bomb it.
Is it remote enough that there won't be other innocent people?
No, I think we're looking at a more specific detonation here. Take a bundle of TNT, open the cellar stairs, toss it directly down onto the thing, flee.
Run.
Because we certainly don't want a fire and then have innocent fireworkers getting down to the cellar where the thing's intact.
I mean, it'll look like a bomb was dropped on it.
If you do it at night, then you also run the risk of it being that would alert the bomber, that would alert bombers. That could lead to indiscriminate bombing of that part of the area. So you could be hitting neighboring houses. You could be hitting houses that are a few streets over. You could be looking at the death of untold amounts of people around there. And frankly, I'm not prepared to sanction that kind of action. I don't mind you blowing the place up during the day, but don't do it at night when you run the risk of Jerry deciding to drop a whole lot of high explosives on the area too.
We could blow it up in the day and just claim that maybe an errant bomb dropped on it and didn't explode immediately and went off.
That's not a bad idea.
We don't need to claim anything. We just need to not be present when the explosive destroys the arcane object.
Right.
And then, there'll probably be a small fire in the day. The firefighters will come, put it out. They won't pay attention to the rubble in the cellar. They might not notice the yellow paint everywhere. If they do, they might just think that Graves is mad. He's obviously not been living there for a while.
Or just
the it's beautiful.
The explosion. Yes.
The paint is beautiful, Melvin. We made beautiful art.
It is. It was clarifying in the moment.
I think we're going to have to send poor George to a nice safe place like the South Pacific to spend some time.
No. I am enlightened, Davik. You see, I am just
and argue with that.
The world.
So we're agreed about blasting caps for the altar in the cellar. We have secondary quarters for the 11th, 12th, and 13th in the Piccadilly. We don't know where Graves and the actors are, but perhaps they're staying at the home of Adrian Jacobs and her husband or her husband-to-be.
They'll definitely be at the hotel that evening, so we could.
Yeah, we could also. This is a totally insane idea, and I'm sure people won't like it, but we could also drill in through the roof.
Of the Piccadilly.
How long would that take? Yeah.
How are you going to get onto the roof of the Piccadilly?
Oh no, I meant into the bunker. Into the bunker.
Through the floor of the basement into the bunker.
Isn't sort of the nature of bunkers to be heavily lined with concrete and
It's like,
things?
I agree.
Feet of concrete.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a good point.
Besides, we don't want to kill everyone in the bunker. Most of them are just rich folk.
We just kill whoever's putting on a play. That's
If
it.
we can kill the actors before they even get to the bunker, that would be.
One question, if either you, Green, or Gross remembered anything about reading the blasted thing, is it possible that a curtain will fall, there'll be 3 performers on stage, and as soon as they say the first lines, we'll all be transfixed in some sort of wide-eyed stupor?
Well, neither Gross nor I were transfixed until we reached the second chapter. Before then, it seemed rather stupid and boring.
Yes. It's almost when you get to the middle section and the climax it gets interesting.
These actors have memorized the play. They don't need the text, but we need to get rid of the text. Since we've got a couple days, I've already had access to the book. I will use some legerdemain to spirit the book away, and I'll bring it to N to put in a vault or wherever you want to put it.
It's true. The thing is, talking of fail-safes, what if the actors have fail-safes? What if a couple of the rich people are in fact, I don't know, with the acting troupe?
I don't know that we can determine that.
The bride is a frustrated actress. They're clearly in cahoots.
Be ready to shoot anyone that is not innocent.
So everyone down there might not be innocent.
Is there any sort of like knockout gas we could pump into the ventilation system? Chloroform. I mean, there has to be a ventilation system. It's a bunker.
Chloroform is fairly simple to produce. However, it also can cause severe brain damage.
Well, I think they already have brain damage. They probably have cauliflower coming out their ears.
They're not boxes.
Knocking people out, it could be worth it. But I mean, could be an option, but
I don't actually hate that as a backup.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea.
As a backup, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, there'll be some brute force involved in getting to wherever the ventilation system is.
I think I can definitely lay my hands on some chloroform. That should be significantly easier than sanctioning the potentially a whole lot of death by
bombing your own people. Yeah,
exactly.
Okay,
but there's also ether, which
that too.
Of course, ether has a very, very strong odor. People will know it immediately when they start getting ethered. So chloroform's probably your best.
Honestly, I think that's fine.
Yeah, and you don't need a lot of chloroform.
Moreover, if we had gas masks, we could just walk in and keep an eye on the situation.
I don't think the gas masks are well designed.
We could.
Something that Dr. Gross just said that's got me thinking. This is N saying this about contingencies or fail-safes, backups. What if the reason why they summoned this thing that, as Constance said, has nothing to do with Carcosa? What if that is something to do with their backup? that they
So we'll
have,
still have to deal with that creature then.
or well, whatever they learned from it is what I'm getting at. That whatever they've learned from something they've called from as a servitor from one of the more powerful beings in existence, that's their failsafe. That if something goes wrong, they can call upon this knowledge that they've learned.
Is there any way to tell what sort of entity a particular servitor is in the service of?
Without talking to the entity, no. That would involve communing with the entity itself. So
Let's not do that.
No, I don't advocate. I don't advocate or recommend going back to that house, walking into that circle, summoning that creature again, and then asking it, "So who do you work for?" That's that would be very detrimental to your health.
Yeah. But if we don't ask the thing, and I didn't know to at the time, and I was hardly in my right mind, then piping. If we don't know who it serves, then we don't know what it could have helped them with.
My guess with the pipe could be that it was the Demon Sultan. There
are Arabs involved.
Well, it's a connection with royalty. But...
Would we know what spells they learned or what dark incantations? No, not possibly.
And the public library that Graves had didn't seem to have particularly esoteric books in it, even before they were painted.
I'm guessing that things that we might find in a public library have been confiscated by N already.
No, his library. I meant the library that he had out in the open. He could have other books in his safe or some such.
Rather than use N as a clue dispenser here, I'll give everyone an int roll to see if you come up with the idea.
11.
I failed.
No, I failed as well by 1.
Regular for me.
22. Exactly the double what Jean-Pierre got.
Oh, there you go. Right, but definitely Jean-Pierre hits upon this, as does anyone else that gets I'd say a hard success or better. That there was discussion away a few episodes back, because I remember there was Davidge anxiously looking at the clock going, when is it midday? When does Aldebaran rise over the horizon? And Aldebaran is, I believe, from midday through until 3 a.m. is how long it remains in the sky. Maybe the penny drops with Jean-Pierre. What if that's when Aldebaran's gaze is upon that room in Hanover Terrace, that's when it becomes a gateway to Carcosa? When Aldebaran drops below the horizon, maybe you'd be able to get into that room and find out what was there, and that might have some more information for you. Maybe something to do before you...
Oh, yes, I see.
I don't think either Gross or I should go back to that house, both for evidentiary reasons and those of remaining sanity.
But Melvin, why not? I can add to the... I can add to the painting.
Why don't you let me and Jean-Pierre go? He can bring his explosives. We can
not
set
at
the
night.
charge. No.
It starts in the morning.
Well, the house is safe after 3 a.m.
You can set a timer on your device, I'm pretty sure. I mean, N does look at you with kind of slightly squint. I'm very hoping you're a student that knows what to do with demolitions.
Oh, leave it to me.
You'll have a timer then set, won't you?
Of course. Wait, where's my demolitions?
Yeah, where is it?
What? Okay, apparently it is not on my character sheet.
It's not a standard skill, so yeah, it's what's classified as an uncommon skill, so it's not on the main character sheet.
Would mechanic...
I mean, I'm sure N knows a demolitions expert.
Yeah, if you need someone with demolitions, he can provide one.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe that would be a good idea. Just make us a carousel clock bomb, or not a carousel, carriage clock bomb or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. What time does Aldebaran come up?
It
It's
rises at noon
Mhm.
and
It
sets.
goes down at 3 a.m.
So we have to either get there before noon or after 3 a.m. We can do it after 3 a.m. The streets will be dark. We can wear black. We can break in.
The back door is already broken, and there hasn't been anyone there for days. I don't expect. You might want to look. You might not want to wear black, but look like gentlemen if you're going to skulk around Hanover Terrace. Just don't step into the wet paint. Stay quiet. The curtain, all the windows are heavily curtained. These actors seem to have a powerful dislike for the light of day. Every place we've been has been shuttered or shaded or
Well,
otherwise.
if they've read the book, then they might be wide-eyed like I was.
I just don't understand why they would leave Graves' home a few days ahead of the performance en masse. They were bunkered there together. They were eating communal slop. Why wouldn't they stay there right until the end if they're going to be?
What if they've noticed that we're on their trail, or that someone is on their trail?
I mean, we've already killed some of them.
I was almost killed by one of them. Obviously, he jumped out. He knew who he was attacking.
Yes, that's a question. You strong-armed the heavy smoker into the car,
Right.
learned that he was merely a dupe, and then someone recognized Davidge personally? Is that what we think?
Or we were being followed the entire time.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't bode well, does it?
No, for the fact that we've got rooms in that hotel and all of this, they may anticipate, as you say, they may be one step ahead of us.
Again, you can all give me int rolls because there is potentially some other things you may have overlooked.
Oh, 4.
98.
Jumpy has brains on fire tonight. Wow.
No, I failed.
Yeah, I failed too.
Another regular for me.
Again, this is you're trying to think of the sequence of events here of what's happened and what's kicked this all into gear, and everything started with the assassination of the caretaker, or the caretaker, the guy on the platform of King's Cross Station. But there was no real need for that to happen. If they had just acted well without drawing attention to themselves, they could have just walked into the hotel. They could just perform in the bomb shelter, and potentially bring about what they want that way.
Well, it's sick, probably. It's because they need investigators to come after them as part of repeating history.
Exactly what you've just said. It's repeating history. They are setting up events exactly as they happened leading up to the 1905 event.
Like, maybe they want us to blow it up because that's what happened in the past. I don't know.
Oh, well, dear God, are we playing roles in the play?
Yes, we are, and we're playing right into it, just talking about blowing things up. I think Jean-Pierre was on the right track with knocking everyone out with gas.
I just feel, I think that would be sort of, I don't see how you could counter that unless they had gas masks, in which case.
I don't think they would.
I mean, they're in a bomb shelter.
It is also government mandate. You are supposed to have your gas mask on you at all times.
Fuck that idea.
But that isn't necessarily to say that everyone does have
How
them.
many people actually do that if I just look outside?
Rich people probably don't.
Yeah, you could almost probably say a good 60% of people do, but it's not everyone.
I'm thinking too that I might have a better plan for the King in Yellow. I could secret in a bottle of India ink and simply pour it on all of the pages as I'm sitting there, and get up and walk out, and the book will be ruined.
Doesn't N have a way via some sort of doctrine to just requisition the thing from the British Library and disappear it, rather than having you take it out in your name and then steal or destroy it?
I imagine and doesn't want to be associated, but perhaps.
It causes ripples. That's the problem.
Fair enough. Perhaps with some excellent false identification then. So it was not to have your name attached, which causes a second sort of ripple.
Unfortunately, they've already seen me. I've already been there to look it over. Maybe one of you. Although it's going to look suspicious if 3 people, have checked out the book in the last.
If you're planning on using such tactics as that, which I would never advocate, defacing a book like in the way you're describing, it's almost as bad as going over it with a highlighter. I'm sure I can have an identity card made up for something of a book desecration antics. He pulls out a folder from his desk drawer and says, "Yeah, Keith Craig. That sounds like a great name. That would do something like that."
Oh, a name that's a first name twice? That's crazy.
It might be worth a moment to mock up a facsimile of the book in question, so that it could be something benign could be returned to the shelves, and if some future fanatic went to try to seek out its secrets, it would be nothing but a bunch of gobbledygook. And
we would need a book binder for that. It's actually an older book, so there's wear and tear on it.
Yeah, could we get some like blow yourself up spell to just write into the first
explosive rune?
Read this and then kaboom.
I could rip out the last half of the book and leave the rest of it there.
That seems like a medium risk and possibly functional approach.
I don't know. I've never ripped out a book. It might be a lot harder than I think that it is.
A small razor blade.
I might have to see the pages in order to do that too.
You could also get some ink disintegrator, like a paint thinner or something, and dump it, and then it would just look like nothing had happened to the book.
Well, getting it wet will definitely make it like it's gotten wet. If I could just stick it in my pocket and walk out with it, nobody would know.
Yes, as long as it's Keith Craig who did it. You can put on a little mustache or something.
If I go at a different time of day, perhaps I'll get a completely different librarian.
Almost certainly.
Yeah,
it shouldn't be that hard.
You just replace it with another book, so that when they put it back in their stores, because you aren't allowed to check the book out of the rare book section, that you're handing back a book that looks like it could be the one that you've been given. And while you secrete the one on your person, then they won't notice the switch until someone goes looking for it later.
This is really underhanded, but I could just go to the public library. I could find a book about the same size and color and just switch them when I'm there. I mean, nobody will know the difference.
Exactly.
And maybe for some reason your name Keith Craig, it makes me want to highlight some words in the text as well.
No, I'm sure we got this cover ID from someone who was a professional defacer of books. But yeah,
that's maybe it was in the paper. That's how I.
And I give my word, I'm not going to read it. I don't want to read it. I don't want my eyes stuck open again. I'm just going to bring it back.
Having their names in the paper, and you have recent back issues of where does a society person put an announcement of their marriage? That's not for the financial. That's just the Times of London, yeah.
Yeah, it would just be in the announcements or the public columns.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a look for Adrian Jacobs.
That's a good shout, Melvin, because it might mention any special guests that might appear, because some people like to flaunt.
Well,
I bet she's getting married to Taylor Graves.
Well, he's not at home these days unless he's got a country place. But if Adrian or her betrothed have a country place, that might be worth learning about.
So my tasks for today, I shall go to the same place I got the book last time. I'll switch it out. I'll bring it back here. And then Jean-Pierre, you and I shall meet at, let's say, 2 a.m. and make our way over to set the charges and deconstruct the gate.
Is there any reason to do it in the middle hours of the night during the blackout? Why not just go at 8:30 in the morning before Aldebaran rises?
We don't want to be seen by anyone.
Well, you might be seen by more people going about in the wee hours of the morning during a blackout than you are in a short bit before the business day starts on a weekday.
So you're thinking 8:30 a.m.?
Yeah. And there's also a risk that we could be blown up by, a bomb.
Well, let's hope that your demolitions expert is an expert.
I meant a German bomb.
Mm-hmm.
If we were at night.
True. You do also run into the risk of being out and about during blackout, that the ARP wardens would intervene and would usher you to somewhere safe, or basically call the police if you are flagrantly disregarding the blackout and wandering around.
Carrying some explosives and all. It's probably 8 at this point. We've been blathering on for a bit.
In the evening?
Yes.
Yeah, it's in the evening, which would coincide with about the time that the sirens would start to whir up. So you'll be encouraged by N to head with him to the nearest bomb shelter.
So reverse our plan. We'll do the bomb thing in the morning, and then I will take care of the book after that.
And the bomb thing is taking N's demolition expert. The thing is only 6 feet or so from the base of the stairs. You don't want to get too close to it. Okay. If the device could be pointed toward it, that's all that needs to be destroyed. And then upstairs, let's see, this door, I've made a little sketch here of the upper story. This is the door that we found closed. It's probably Graves's study or some such. There may be texts in there that should be recovered.
We might find out what they're really up to. Maybe we could, we'll see. We'll, find out if they're talking about us.
It's not out of the question that you'll find Graves's corpse up there too, once he's done the duties that he had. He's an elderly fellow. But be prepared for something awful.
Right. I'll seal myself to that.
Yeah, we could find just perfect models of us in there. That would be pretty creepy.
Gracious, the things people say. All right. And could we take these papers down to the shelter with us? I want to pour through them.
Yeah, you certainly can.
And
he's also gathering some stuff up underarm to take with him. So they do have a bomb. They do have a shelter underneath the bookshop, so that you can easily retreat there.
We'll take a telephone directory as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Now, I was about to ask Dr. Gross as the poor sod that would like to roll the D4, but he's vanished. So, who wants to be the unlucky one and roll the D4 for me?
It's a lot of pressure.
Here's nothing. 4.
4, okay. Oh, okay.
Ooh.
Uh-oh.
There's a sound.
See him go, ooh.
Okay.
Or things go wrong.
Okay.
Or servitors show up.
So you start heading down into the basement as around off on the distance to begin with, and then starting getting closer and closer. You can hear the thud, thud, thud of bombs dropping. But you get down underground and it's comfortably a little bit further away. But you can start going through the paperwork you've got there. And it rapidly becomes apparent that, there is no mention of Adrian Jacobs in the press getting married at all. This definitely seems to be a cover story of some kind, or that it's more unlikely that it's just not been publicized. You'd think that someone like that, it would definitely be publicized.
Right. We can find out public records tomorrow where there's a marriage certificate on file, right?
Hmm.
You have to post
Yeah,
the banns.
because they would have to get a license to be married as well. So,
Hmm.
right, as the five of you are, well, let's say we'll go around. You've got this lovely long bomb shelter that runs under probably a few of the buildings on the road off Trafalgar Square. You've got various of the admin staff that have worked upstairs in the offices that both N occupies and the adjoining ones. So there's them, probably a couple of other auxiliaries that you've met. So you might even see Fotheringay there that you've encountered last time from your exploits around the docks. What you say, Davidge? The place it's well, not comfortable, but it's functional. So there's benches, there's chairs, there's a few bits of reading material down there. Obviously, there's a stack of paperwork that's been taken down there. How do you wish to while away your time down here, waiting for the all clear in the morning?
I am going to try and become a little more familiar with N. I'm curious to what N stands for. However, I would never ask because obviously he doesn't want anyone to know.
He'll just smile and say that it's a designated code, designated letter that's been applied to him. There are various individuals. In fact, there are 25 other such individuals that work within the intelligence agencies, scattered across various different branches that have different letters. Although we don't talk about H anymore.
Ah, good. So other than that, I'm going to just talk about old stories, things. What have you seen? I'm just being curious. I'm an occultist.
Yeah, give me a charm roll.
Charm. I got a 79. He's got closed lips.
It's you can see that he will quite happily talk with you, but you don't feel that kind of camaraderie that's been built up. It's a casual conversation between two work associates is how it more feels like, rather than two friends at this point.
Right. So step one, that's what I'll call that.
You've got your foot in the door. Yeah. Okay, just going around on the order on my screen. Jean-Pierre, how are you deciding to wheel away these few hours?
Probably sleeping, practicing my knife throwing.
Yeah. So occasionally through conversing with N, David actually just lean out the way as a dagger goes past him. Yeah, you could quite happily do that. There'll be a few people that move away from you just out of again, self-preservation will kick in. Right, Melvin?
Having not found any notice regarding Adrian Jacobs, I'm going to just sift through the discarded papers for bits of theatrical news and gossip. I wonder if there were other thespians that have been recruited in the past few months or however long the papers cover.
Okay, I'll buy that. Give me a luck roll. See if not luck roll, a library use or luck, your choice.
They're one different. 26 is that a hard? Well, there's 25 is a hard for library, so I'll spend one luck.
Okay, yeah, I'll give you two names in that case. Yeah, there's a couple of names which definitely pop out to you. The first one is one that I think you came across via Captain Oswald and Jean-Pierre.
Mark Long.
Stephen Nash.
Mm.
Former Shakespearean actor. Vanished from the theatre scene in early 1937.
Former in every sense.
Yeah, especially now, yes. So yeah, he's also an actor that seems to be, well, in this case, very classically trained. So as a Shakespearean actor, he had a very high caliber kind of acting skill. And then indeed, your second one that you come across with your, thanks to your extra point of luck spend, is indeed Mark Long.
Blast.
Former character actor from the West End. Performed a lot of contemporary plays before just again vanishing off the face of the earth a couple of years ago.
I'll be jiggered. You know, obviously anyone who reads the thing is driven mad, but they actually go for people with training. Curious. We'll have to look further into that. There might be old playbills. I wonder if Mr. Long ever worked with Ms. Jacobs.
Well, let's have a look quickly.
It's probably something for the public library tomorrow, of course.
Yeah, Adrienne, from what David remembers of her, was that she was very much, again, contemporary plays, so more kind of hot things on the scene, but also new productions of classics that are quite well regarded. So stuff that would be great for getting on your CV, that sort of thing. Whereas Long was very much, he wanted to do just the modern stuff. So there might have been a point where they crossed over, but it's certainly not inconceivable.
I wonder if there's some West End night spot that they've been using as a recruitment depot. Worth looking into. We have time.
No, given Graves was a theatre critic, it's possible that he moved in certain circles and was able to use his connections before becoming a primarily literary critic to be able to effectively headhunt and identify folks that he believed would be susceptible to the influence of the play. Right. And Captain Oswald, how do you want to spend these few hours?
So, Father Engay, what is he currently doing?
He's pretty much continuing what he was doing previously. He's working on various cases that N throws at him. So at this point, he's looking into suspected activities regarding black market trade of meat goods.
The meat
So,
trade.
yeah,
Huh?
definite
Interesting.
black market activity.
All right. I'm not going to bother him then because I was going to ask for his help. Instead, I will inspect the equipment we currently have. Like, I'll take apart and reassemble the firearms we have. I'll take inventory of the items we might be using in our raid on this cult. So I'll just be doing that.
Gotcha. Making sure that your Sten gun won't jam on you, that kind of thing.
Right.
So cleaning them, taking them apart, putting them back together blindfolded, which, as the lights do occasionally go out in the bomb shelter, makes it good practice for you to be able to do this without having to rely on your eyes. So
this feels good for me.
And Dr. Gross, how do you want to spend these few hours?
Well, Dr. Gross has his little notepad out. How he made a lot of his money on top of lecturing and all that jazz. He writes a lot of books, non-fiction, fiction. Some non-fiction people think are fiction, all that jazz. So he's writing some notes, all in Italian, for his new fictitious novel, which is basically in his mind, he won't tell anyone. It's basically adapting everything that's happening now, just changing everything around. And because he's a bit, so there will be mentions of yellow, but who knows how far. Depends how insane he is by the end of this, how far, or if he's alive, how far he actually adapts the workings. He could put fact in there, who knows. But if anyone walks past him, he's actually speaking in Arabic. But sometimes he switches to Afrikaan as well, because he doesn't want people actually knowing what he's doing. Because he might be insane, but he doesn't want people to be like, oh, what the hell? So he might as well seem insane by switching languages.
I'm making a very meta, almost like a play of a play about a play. Right. In which case, then, as you are whittling through your various different activities, so either talking with N, throwing knives and making people dodge, and wishing they had armor in the place, looking through your copious amounts of newspaper material, putting or taking apart and putting back together your stun gun, or acting like a lunatic in the corner, which ain't difficult for the good doctor. There is an almighty thud nearby as it feels like a bomb has dropped very, very close to the shelter. Everyone just pauses for a moment. There's that moment of unsettling silence that suddenly comes over everyone as you think, Christ, that was a bit close. And then midway through that thought, there's another bomb drops even closer. The shelter shakes. This thankfully couldn't be a direct hit because shelters like this don't usually survive direct hits, but this is enough to at least rock the basement. And as the whole place rocks, dust starts falling from the air, or starts falling from the ceiling, filtering through the air almost like snowflakes. And figures start to emerge from around you, dressed in ballroom attire. They're wearing masks. Each of them is kind of beckoning to you all to come with them. What do you do?
Oh boy, everyone else is seeing this?
Well, you looking between you, the five of you definitely notice this, but you're not really noticing anyone else that seems to be reacting to these people. That they're moving in between the people that you can see in the room. Like, for instance, you can see Fotheringay still sat in his chair, as this figure comes out almost from behind him, which would imply that it's come out from through the wall, and he doesn't seem to react.
I don't like this, but I'm curious.
Cover my eyes. Yeah.
It is a mere illusion.
I have the Sten gun in my hands.
Going to strike up a conversation with the nearest human who is not dressed for a ball and ask, I'm not accustomed to this particular shelter. How close would you say that was? Is this a normal amount of detritus, or?
Oh, we've been quite lucky. We don't normally get shells. We haven't had a shell land that close for a while. But odds are it was going to happen eventually. And there's another boom, and the place does again shake. The poor girl nearly jumps out of her skin when she does this.
I do have a bit of brandy on me if you feel like some support.
She just wide open nods.
Yeah, hand her a flask. I'm going to try to maintain human contact as a way to sort of distance myself from waltzes or whatever.
Yeah. So you're distracting yourself. David just got his eyes closed. Jean-Pierre, how are you reacting?
I'm going to stab one of these apparitions in the face.
Okay, you just go, boom. At which point this thing collapses in a pile of confetti and clockwork pieces on the floor in front of you. At which point there's a couple of the other folks around, maybe even Fotheringay's looking at you a little bit oddly. So that's an interesting throwing technique you've got there.
I'm just like cursing in French and being like, are you guys seeing this shit?
Yes.
Okay. And George?
George is looking, but I don't know, maybe he's become accustomed that he's kind of just still writing his notes and getting ready to proper write his book. He really wants to get into it. He's just focusing on that.
Right. And Captain, as you said, you're intrigued.
I am very intrigued, and I'm going to just say out, like, I'm seeing some figures right now. I'm gonna try and communicate to them. And I say, Spirit, what do you want?
Oh, this figure that looks vaguely feminine, wearing this mask that's almost
Constance?
It covers their whole face.
Mm.
Doesn't have the same body. Doesn't have the same body shape as Constance. Just seems to be another female. This time in a very red dress rather than gold and yellow. Just beckons you like this.
I'm gonna go for it.
If
Okay.
Even though my eyes are covered, if I notice Captain Oswald getting up, I'm going to grab a hold of him and say, don't. It's part of the story.
Is it? This might be a way to stop it.
I think it's a way to become part of it.
I don't think the play itself is malign. I just think it's the actors that are. If we can try and understand the nature of this, we can.
But I've read the book. I've read the play. It's bad. It's about madness. And this is madness.
Do you think they asked that demon to drop a bomb on us?
No, I don't think so.
That they summoned in the basement?
I'm gonna go.
Okay, you get up and you pull yourself away from Davidge's grasp as this figure leads you on forward. There is another almighty crash of a bomb that goes off nearby, and the lights all go out in the basement. When they flicker back on about 5 seconds later, but it feels a lot longer when you're stood in the dark with a lot of people that are on edge and panicking. With its hand on your shoulder, on Captain Oswald's shoulder, almost protectively and acceptingly and kind of approvingly, you can see this withered, it looks almost mummified hand that's on your shoulder, but this figure that is stood behind you, so you thankfully don't get to, you don't have to worry about the sanity roll for this. The others just see this 8-foot tall figure in yellow, these wings coming off its side, this halo of light around its head, glaring towards the other 4 of you who did not accept the offer of its dancers, as this booming voice echoes through the bomb shelter. Do you dare defy the will of the living God? And I'll have a sanity check from the 4 of you, please.
Oh boy.
Oh, this is great with my very low sanity.
Fail.
I failed.
I
Not even
failed.
close.
Do we have a full run of failure?
No.
Oh, damn
15.
it. Right, well, Jean-Pierre, it's a D3 for you. It's a D10 for the other 3, please.
Oh, and I get to use my D3.
Yeah.
1.
2.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
'cause
definitely
trying not to look.
I'm definitely
Oh.
flipping this guy off.
Dr. Gross, would you like to give me an intelligence roll?
Yeah, just let me just adjust my sanity on it. Problem is he's a very intelligent man, Doctor. 59 out of 75.
Yeah, you understand the implications of what you've got here. Yeah, Aldebaran's gaze is still upon you, and now it's very much upon you. How would you like to flip out in the presence of a god?
I think part of it is he's probably going to be shaking. He will just be scribbling random. He will be scribbling and scribbling and scribbling. He might even write the king in several times in a row. He'll just keep writing and writing and writing, and might accidentally rewrite the entire script, entire play.
There's bits of it that might come to memory, so your snatches of dialogue that are written over this page, like lines that go over multiple pages, then crisscross over each other. There's lines of dialogue that in isolation don't make much sense, but to you are maybe awakening bits of memories of this horrible second part of the play.
And what he writes, he'll also be speaking out loud, but in Italian, so only those who speak Italian will actually understand what he's saying.
In which case, then, does anyone else speak Italian in the group?
Maybe N does.
Oh, no, German.
Ooh.
Okay, well, N might catch what he's saying, but might not comprehend it. But we'll get to that at a later point.
I'm a lawyer. I just have some Latin.
I would never learn the language of Mussolini.
Can I try to grab once again for Oswald and drag him away from that thing?
You reach out to try and grab him as this another almighty bomb goes off nearby. Cracks appear in the ceiling, dust starts to come down even more, and the lights go out, and at this point they are out for the rest of the night.
I'm getting the hell out of the shelter. I think someone summoned a direct hit to kill us.
You're leaving the bomb shelter.
I'm leaving the bomb shelter.
During
How do
the
you find
vomit.
your way out? It's completely black.
Oh boy.
After you can hear people fumbling around, maybe after a minute or so, they will find hurricane lamps that they will be able to turn on. So there will be some lights that go on, there's some lights that do gradually come on. Bits of fallen masonry have come down. Thankfully, no one's directly hurt, but also there is now no manifestation of an avatar of a god that's in the room with you, that no one else seemed to react to at all.
Is Goodale still there, or is he vanished?
No, he's still here. Just maybe we're wondering what this heavy weight that was on your shoulder that seems to have lifted. But yeah, whatever that hand was, that had a hell of a lot of force behind it.
Oswald, it almost had you. It had you in its grip.
I'm concerned.
I'm
Yes,
concerned. You didn't see it. You didn't look into its face, thank God.
See what?
don't toy with them if they show up. We all look at Gross.
It
Yes,
was
he's
the king in
screaming.
yellow.
N is at this point looking over at Gross, looking back to you and goes, "What was he talking about? And so dies truth."
I don't understand Italian.
If we could speak privately over in the corner, sir.
Mhm.
Don't want to alarm the rest of the staff here. After the second blast, we all saw apparitions of the grand ball, and for whatever mad reason, Goodale agreed to travel away to the dance, and the king himself appeared. So I'm very jarred. I think Gross is perhaps in need of a sedative. I don't know how well Jean-Pierre or Davidge did, but it's permeating reality ahead of schedule.
And anything that gets touched by this thing, anything that's seen its sign, he just nods and his words trail off. But he seems like he at least understands what you're saying.
Melvin, should we give him the 5-finger sedative?
Always with the violence.
I think, honestly, as long as he's not saying anything that we shouldn't hear, it seems like he's sort of got his own little therapy going.
We do have a medical kit here. I can extend this to all of you if you wish. Do you all want to be sedated? It might be an easier way to pass the night.
No,
I will
to be
stand
in control.
watch.
I'm taking it.
It's been a very long day for me. I think I'll roll up my sleeve.
In which case, then, one of their resident nurses, doctors, will come along with a syringe for Jean-Pierre, for Melvin, and Gross. You don't even notice when they just go in the side of your neck. That there is for a moment just this sweet taste of morphine, or this feeling that washes over you, and a descent into blissful sleep. Which does mean that you three are able to regain, if you've spent any, regain 1 magic point for your, well, not 1 magic point. This would count as a restful night's sleep. So you do regain all of your spent magic points, which I think mainly is Melvin after that draining experience at the at Hanover Terrace, because otherwise, sleeping throughout the blitz with in a bomb shelter, this is not classified as restful sleep. You do not regain all your magic points back, but being completely sedated, you do. So otherwise, Davidge and good captain here. It's a bit of a miserable night, but eventually it will pass.
We have to endure damage.
I want to be able to be in my right mind if something happens.
That's correct. I've been thinking about this king in yellow. It seems very inevitable. We're just falling into its its hands by going straight into the investigation and repeating history like the investigators before.
There,
I don't know what to do.
there are entities that would bring about the end of the world. This may be one of them. Perhaps there's no way to prevent it, but there might be a way to delay it. I just as soon delay it.
Seems like this script is already written out.
Yes, but that's what we could have said about the fire god from Fomalhaut, and we stopped that from happening.
But this is a lot different. This is more elegant. This isn't just fire and violence. This is a planned, almost written fate.
I imagine the most beautiful trap is still death. So I'm not sure death. I'm not sure that if you die in this, you die, or if you continue to be tortured for all of eternity, dancing in some stupid king's hall.
Right. The consequences of us not going and stopping this is they get to complete the play, and then that would wreak havoc.
They're trying to call this thing into our world from another, and they're very close to it.
But if we do go out and get it, we're still playing in their hands. It's a lose-lose.
Well, it might be a loss for us, but it might be a win for everyone else. Or at least a temporary victory.
So be it. Yeah, I knew what I agreed to when I signed up for Network N. So I think we should still go.
I think all decent people will sacrifice themselves to save others, I would hope. But if we don't have to, then we can possibly survive this to the next scenario.
We'll have to truly stop this, we'd have to destroy that book, and then we'd have to destroy everyone who knows of it.
You know, it's only a copy, and it's an English copy. The original's in French. I don't even have a clue where that is.
But I really do think that we will have to eliminate everyone connected to this.
Probably.
And, that eventually would include us. But
well, definitely George. I think he's a long way into it at this point. But don't cut our throats until you're sure that we're gone.
I'm sure Network N has use for you. You'll be juiced dry until before that happens.
With that lovely image in mind, and Captain Oswald's note about that this is inevitable, this is a lose-lose situation, and maybe thinking there has to be some kind of way out of this, there has to be some avenue that they haven't thought about and predetermined for and pre-planned for. This is the point where Jean-Pierre, Melvin, and Dr. Gross are starting maybe to come round from their dose of morphine as the all-clear sirens start wailing over another bombed morning in London, marking the beginning of the 10th of February.
I think I could take one of those for the rest of my life.
Nothing bad ever happened from morphine addiction at all.
What happened?
And that, I think, is probably a good point for us to leave that for tonight.
Our players included Max Meltzer, Josh Harwood, Alex Sun, David Gasway, and myself, with Matthew Sanderson as a keeper of arcane lore. We have a Discord server where you can chat with other members, you can set up private games, you can learn the finer arts of gameplay and game mastering. We provide audio-only versions of our shows free for you to download from Spotify, Podbean, or iTunes. Support for the show is provided by our patrons who are listed in the closing credits. If you'd like to show us your appreciation, please visit our Patreon page listed in the description, or you can use the thanks button just below the screen. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and punch the bell icon for updates on our latest shows. And leave us some comments. We enjoy reading them and answer any questions you might have. This is Thom Raley, together with all the members of our gaming club, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure into the universe of H.P. Lovecraft and the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. Until next time, good luck, good gaming.